I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I didn't back Dungeon Dwellers because I needed another fantasy RPG. I've got AD&D, I've got Old School Essentials, I've got Shadow Dark, I've got enough fantasy games to last me the rest of my life. I backed this Kickstarter because I wanted the miniatures. And after opening everything, I think I accidentally got a really good role-playing game for free. Look at what I got. Some dice, a big old box with the actual game. Miniatures are in here. A whole friggin' box load of them. A nice dice pouch. Some counters. Metal counters. A gazetteer. It's still in the shrink wrap. Denizens of the Dungeon, their monster manual. The Game Master's Vault. A player's guide. Some foam. And a map. Vestonia's Hillside Province. And on the other side are the noble houses of Hillsedge. Great map, nice and thick. Now, I have been looking through the PDFs for a couple years. This Kickstarter took, I don't know, I might be exaggerating, 3 years? It could have been more, it could have been less, 2 years, I don't know. In fact, I kind of forgot about it until it arrived. I love the matte covers. Really cool. I'm all about the matte. About a wonderful matte finish. Very cool. Now, this isn't just 3 books. This is an entire tabletop experience. Let's get the obvious thing out of the way. Reaper didn't accidentally make a game that uses miniatures. Reaper is miniatures. Here's the box. I've already gone through them, and I haven't really opened many of them. But let's go through this. A fighter, a wizard, hobgoblin warrior, charnel grub, harpy, minotaur, 4 armored goblins. Can never have enough goblins. Lesser basilisk, monstrous centipedes, 2 of them, oozes, medium and small. Fimgratch, 2 cultists, a rogue, a cleric, monstrous ticks. This one's coming undone. Fire beetles, 2 of them, a skeleton knight, a wraith, hellhounds, 2 of them, 4 armored skeletons, a mournful spirit, a moor troll, a large dragon, an ogre thumper. So many miniatures. This is why I got this Kickstarter. I mean, these are $7, $8 and upwards of $10 to $15 each. Totally worth the $160 that I spent for this Kickstarter however many years ago. Now, Reaper has spent decades becoming one of the best in the industry at making miniatures. So instead of pretending you don't need them for the Dungeon Dwellers game, no, Dungeon Dwellers embraces them. Personally, that's exactly why I backed this. Now, for years, I was a metal miniature snob. If it wasn't metal cast or old school pewter, I wasn't interested. The Bones line was crap in my opinion. Bones Black was a step up, but just okay. But the Bones USA is where it's at for me. This plastic, I don't know what they did or what demon that they made a pact with, but this is my go-to now. I want everything in my collection to be turned into this because they're durable. If they fall off the table, there's no broken swords. They take paint really well. Just remarkable. And so I am so stoked about this entire collection that I now have amassed. And consequently, this will take me years to paint, but I'm all for it. So was the Kickstarter worth the $160 I spent? Absolutely. Even if I never cracked open the books that are the RPG here, then it would be worth it. But here's the thing. I did crack open the books, or rather the PDFs, and yeah, there's some really cool things in here. This actually had a packaging that went around it, but my wife commandeered them for our current game in the Sawin campaign. And if you haven't signed up for the Sawin newsletter, then go ahead and do that. It is my own campaign world that I am creating that is a little slice of Halloween. Now, there's a few ideas in here that immediately jumped out to me. First, proficiency is so incredibly simple. Why D&D hasn't done this, and maybe it's because D&D goes up to 20th level. This game, like so many recent, within the last 10 years, sort of games have done, is that you only go up to 10th level in this game, which I think is the sweet spot for a game like this. Complete with a ribbon marker here. Nice. Now these are nice glossy pages. You can see the ability score modifier from 0 to 20 and what the modifier is, which go from a -5 to a +5. There's optional ability modifiers. You've got hill dwarves and wood elves, proud hearth halflings, humans, keeping it simple, all the dungeon dweller deities. You got your classes, your fighter, your rogue, your wizard. So there's nothing new here. I think what they've done with this game is really taken a good base of like 3rd edition or 5th edition and stripped it down to its lowest common denominator, and then made some tweaks that were really, really good. Here's your character sheet. It's got its foot in AD&D, you know, that old school mindset. What's something that's really cool is that there is proficiency bonuses in here, but they made it simple. At 1st level, you have a +1 proficiency bonus. At 5th level, you have a +5 proficiency bonus. And you can see them totally leaning into their miniature line, not shying away, not saying this is optional, even though it technically is, but they're leaning into it. Why? Because they are the kings, or one of the kings, of miniatures. And so anyways, your level says what your proficiency bonus is. And then there's nuance where you can half that or you can quarter that depending on how knowledgeable the character is with the certain thing that you're rolling for. Also, the spells. There's not like with D&D, you know, at 5th level you can cast 3rd level spells. That always didn't really make sense, especially for my ADHD brain. But they have moved not only proficiencies to that sort of thing, but at 1st level, you cast 1st level spells. At 7th level, 7th level spells. 3rd level, 3rd level spells, and so on, all over the place. And they've broken them down so like even Fireball is not a 3rd level spell, so you're not going to be casting Fireball there. You'll be casting that at 4th level. So maybe that's a compromise, I'm not sure. So here are the arcane spells. Has that familiar thing that AD&D really introduced with cantrips. So here's all these awesome cantrips. Level 1 arcane spells all the way up to level 9. And again, you're casting based upon your own level. And then the clerics go up to level 8 divine spells. Now again, you have levels 1 through 10, and the spell level coincides with that. They use spell points for casting, which I think is great, something that I use. Man, I homebrewed that back in the early 90s. Again, simple, easy to remember, and it's a reoccurring theme that it's just trying to make things as simple as possible, which I love. Oh, that's a great picture. Hell yeah. Bunch of useful tables, etc. So it's got its foot in 5e. Just as much as Dragonbane does. I know there's people out there that would fight me on that, but Dragonbane in its current form would not exist without 5th edition and even 3rd and 4th edition. So taking that as kind of a chassis and then cleaning it up and making it more streamlined. Great stuff. Let's look at the monster book here. This is Denizens of the Dungeon. This monster book is exactly what I want. Classic monsters throughout, a sprinkling of original ones, amazing artwork. Let me get the glare off. These are glossy pages, not my favorite. I wish these were matte as well, but that's a personal preference. But amazing art throughout, and they have this cool little thing that I want to talk about for just a second. The balanced encounter, also known as the fair fight. It's a myth. What's challenging for one party is a walk in the park for another. This is the basis of the game. That's that old school mindset. Nobody's looking at CR ratings and balancing encounters. That's just kind of lame and work that you don't actually have to do. I love this picture. It's so friggin' rad. In this book, the author encourages the game master to modify monsters instead of treating the stat blocks as sacred. And so that's something that I can completely get behind. No matter what you have here, you've got your stat blocks, and but everything is ready to be manipulated. You don't keep to it. Change it up. You know, the 15th time that they've come up against a dire bat, make it different. And that's what this game is encouraging you to do, which I love. I love this picture of the doppelganger. Really awesome. Awesome. Great artist throughout. Well laid out. Easy reference. So, killer funguses, mournful spirits, or the banshee. I like how some of these are black and white and others are color. Ogres. All your regular fantasy fare ready to go. Here's the shadow, and that's cool how they darken this page. That's a nice touch. Love that. Skeleton, specters, sturges, so on and so forth. Great stuff. And here's the Game Master's Vault, which is the biggest book in the lot at 279 pages. I mean, they didn't skimp here. They didn't just like throw together a 5-page RPG to go with their miniatures. They took time and they made it right. I mean, great stuff, man. Just great stuff. So cool. I love these pictures. Whoever did these like downward group pictures, I am really digging that. Yep. Everything about dungeon delving. We can just kind of look at the table of contents. I don't want to make this a really long look through, but game mastery, running game sessions, game master's toolbox, planned, improvised, or sandbox, has some really good just takeaways for a game master. I'm really impressed with what they've done. And again, each one of these books has a ribbon marker, which is always a nice touch. They are stitched bound with this red stitching here. And here's the campaign setting of their making. Maps, people, NPCs, everything that's going on in this amazing setting and place. Everything you need. That's what's awesome. Like, it's a complete game. What you want. I'm surprised there's not more hype about this, because it's really good. And maybe it's because most people in the OSR, at least, or maybe that might be using Reaper, I don't know, aren't really into the modern D&D. But man, Shadow Dark is modern D&D that has been OSR'd. So I don't really see that much difference. This is a ton of content right now. All of this is for sale on the Reaper Minis website. It really feels like Reaper wasn't just selling a rule set. They wanted you to have something to play immediately, like after a read-through. You could get into this now and just start going. So would I recommend Dungeon Dwellers? Yes, but maybe not for the reasons most reviewers might mention if there's anybody else out there that's taking a look at this. The RPG itself has some genuinely clever ideas that I'll probably steal for my own games. The proficiency system is so simple. I like also the spell progression. It has that classic fantasy feel that I enjoy, but what really sold me was everything around the game. The dice and the coins and the plethora of minis. And there's a bunch of PDF adventures, so you're not creating your own adventures. There are adventures ready to go in PDF form. This feels like a company that already knew how to make fantasy miniatures, deciding to build an RPG around that. And honestly, I think they pulled it off. Now again, Dungeon Dwellers feels like it's part of this new wave of post-2000s fantasy RPG, like Dungeon Crawl Classics, Shadow Dark, Five Torches Deep, Tales of Argosa, Dragonbane. They have a foot in the past, but are also in the now. It keeps the accessibility of modern D20 games, but deliberately trims away the over-complexity. It isn't trying to reinvent fantasy role-playing. It just wants the rules to stay out of the way. And mechanics like level-based proficiency and level-based spell access are good examples of that design philosophy. I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters for making this video possible. Without you, none of this happens. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you want to sign up for the Samhain Vale newsletter, there's a link down in the dungeon. There's links to Dungeon Dwellers down in the dungeon. All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios today, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.